How is this going to be taken forward? Because right now the deal is still not completely done. Let's talk about it with our guest and our expert guest, Anil Kumar Trigunayat, joins us. He's a former Indian ambassador to both Libya and Jordan. Good evening to you, Ambassador Trigunayat. Do you think that this deal is just having a bit of a hiccup before it becomes formalized and things will fall in place? Because the latest is that the US envoys are saying that we're working on it and we're hoping that things will get worked out by Sunday, which is when the ceasefire deal is supposed to start rolling out.
Well, I think that all the countries that have been trying to mediate, be it Qatar, be it Egypt or the United States, have in the last 15 months, have tried several times to get to a ceasefire deal. But every time we saw that one or the other party had reneged on it and it could not happen. And therefore, with great caution, all sides were working on it. And somehow President Biden announced the deal, and so did the Qatari Prime Minister. And apparently, once the Hamas agreed to whatever was earlier agreed by the Israelis and the Americans, and both President Trump's representative as well as President Biden's representatives being there. And there was tremendous pressure on the Israelis and the Hamas to agree to this deal, which has been actually proposed by President Biden in May, if you remember. And since then, they've been trying to work on it. Now, the problem is that Netanyahu is on the back foot because they feel that in this deal, they are a bit of a loser because their goals have not been achieved. Secondly, his ultra-rightist partners like Ben-Gvir and others have threatened that they will withdraw from the government and that his government might fall. So unless he secures some kind of a support from other parties, it will be very difficult for them. And that's why you are said the hiccup, and that is the hiccup. It is not done until it is done.
It's also being said that the Hamas is trying to squeeze in some last-minute demands which are not acceptable to Israel in terms of trying to get some more people released who were imprisoned for being close to their cause.
Well, I think that all the people who have been arrested only because of that cause, which is the Palestinian cause, whether they have used extremism, terrorism, or other methods to do that. So Israel has been picking up, and there are thousands of them in their jails. So every time Hamas has tried to extract more people for every single Israeli, and this is precisely what they have been trying to negotiate. And this has all been worked out in my view. But I think that the bigger problem is, none of them is a saint in the process. I say both sides have been trying to extract the maximum mileage in this whole thing. But currently, of course, all of them are under tremendous pressure. As you know, Qatar had even threatened to throw out Hamas from Doha, and President Biden and both President Trump have threatened both sides of this, that they need a deal before the 20th of January. So under that pressure, it's been done. But you can understand that this is not a comfortable thing. It is going to be very difficult because there is no outcome. No side can actually claim victory in this. Both are losers, and the region could be the loser. So I feel that they are just trying to find a way somehow to delay it. But I hope that this will work out before on the 19th, as has been proposed. Even if this will be a very tenuous kind of a deal, any time the ceasefire could break, because first phase of 33 people will be released, and many of the Palestinians, women and children and others who are in the captivity from Israeli prisons will also be gone. Refugees, many of the people will have to move. The refugees, internally displaced people.
And do you think a lot of things are still not clear as to what kind of administration will be put in place in Gaza when the Israeli military withdraws? What does happen to the Hamas? Will it be disarmed completely and disbanded? All these things are still not clear, and of course nothing about the ultimate peace prospect of a two-state solution.
This is why I say that right now everything's up in the air. There are ideas, but Israel obviously wants to keep the security under its belt. irrespective. Whoever comes to power or whatever happens the deal, they would like to retain the security dimension as they have done in the other parts of Palestine. So they will continue to take part in it. They will not allow Hamas to once again take the major portion of running the government. So therefore, there has to be some. There are several proposals actually that there could be regional forces that could be deployed there. It could be under the UN as well, and there could be the UAE has also offered earlier, which was not acceptable. So while the reconstruction process will begin, I think all those will be talked about in the second phase. But the first phase was very, very important so that at least for President Trump, this could be a symbolic victory in one sense.
Okay.
Both Biden and
okay. Let's go by the assumption that by Sunday things get worked out, because after that Trump's inauguration happens, and he's already said that he's warned that all hell will break loose if things are not worked out by that time. If this deal goes through, what happens next? Not just for Gaza and the Palestinians, but what will Israel do next? Will it go after Iran, or will the prospect of something like something in which India has a direct stake, like the IMEC, the India Middle East Economic Corridor, the prospect for that becomes much brighter?
If there is no war in the region, then everything moves smoothly. But we cannot deny the fact that Iran and Israel suffer from this mutually assured destruction syndrome, a MAD syndrome as it is called. And they are going to be after each other. But once the deal is there, the ceasefire deal is there, that takes away a lot of the Iranian angst, which is what was giving them a cause to continue to fight for it. And today, as you know, the Iranians have also approached the Trump administration, and there are talks. They recently had discussions with their European counterparts that some kind of a renegotiation of the nuclear deal could take place. So that could take off the pressure. Secondly, as you have seen Trump's statement, he has very clearly said that it shows that I only like to solve the problems and not create problems or create wars. Now, that is his basic premise, that he is not a warmonger in that sense. And therefore, his pressure on, and his apparently his advisor the advisor for Middle East did pressure Netanyahu. So Netanyahu currently is under tremendous pressure to agree to it. But in order not to do that, he's obviously trying to find some way that Hamas has released or whatever is the numbers. Now that we would not know. It's the one statement by the other person. But definitely they are all under pressure to deliver something on this. Now, whether Iran-Israel war happens or they go after them, today we have just heard that Egyptians are getting ready to bomb the Houthis because Suez Canal revenues of about $60 million a month is being impacted. So we are not still where the peace is, because the fight is still going on in different parts. There are multiple theaters. So even if Gaza settles for a while, it'll be only for a while unless you have the fundamental causes addressed.
All right. That is another cup of tea altogether. But let's see what happens next for Sunday itself. Thanks a lot for joining us for the moment, Ambassador Trigunath.
Thank you.